Hey guys, my name is Tamer and I'm the FPS system engineer, and I'll give you guys the intro to the gameplay. So for the gameplay, you have to dodge the trains because if you collide with them, you die. Okay? So also, the other enemy other than the train is the actual human enemies, that is the mafia and the cops that you have to eliminate on the way through this tunnel train system before they eliminate you. And as you can see, our character's name is Raphael. He's a 37-year-old French Secret Service veteran. He was doing some underground business with the mafia in France, and he ended up owing the French money. So after owing the French the money, the mafia took Raphael in, captured him, and held him in captivity. The reason why Raphael took the money was to pay his mother's chemotherapy bills, though. So now Raphael has to escape the prison using the rail system we built. So here we're going to talk about gameplay mechanics now. And gameplay mechanics include shifting left and shifting right between the different rail systems. You have to dodge the trains before they hit you. So this is an endless runner, and it continuously keeps going until you get eliminated. The game gets faster as you progress. So you have to eliminate the enemies to the right, dodge trains, shoot enemies on carts, pick up collectibles to regain health. And when your player dies, you have two options. You can replay the game or exit. When you replay the game, you get loaded back right into the game. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get started. Hey guys, my name is Tamer, and I'll be covering the title page of PrisonScape, the game over screen, and the FPS system. As you can see right here, this is the title page, and you have two options. You can play the game or you can quit the game. We're gonna go ahead and start the game and play. Here we go. And as you can see, I get loaded into the screen and the game starts right away. I have to dodge the trains and eliminate the players before they do. As you can see, two enemies are right here. They're both done. They're both finished. Okay, there's an enemy right here. They're both done and they're both finished. So I can eliminate players, but I have to make sure I dodge the trains or I might end up dying. Boom. There you go. I just got hit by the train. Let's replay the game. Now I want to talk about the animations I was able to deliver. So there's a lot of animations happening at the same time. I want to give a quick shout out to the person that developed Playmaker, because that's an awesome system I use to put all these animations together. As you can see, there's the right. I can move left, I can move right, and while I do that, my arm is swinging. As you can see, I can shoot while I'm aimed in, and I can still get the kickback. I can aim in while I'm at hipfire, and I still got the kickback. There's even a reload system, reloading animation under this all as well. A couple enemies on that car right here. I'm going to quickly eliminate them real quick. And they're finished. As you can see, there's sparks coming from the hook while I'm grinding on the rail system as well. And you can also see the muzzle flashes lighting up the whole tunnel while I shoot as well too. Awesome.
Okay, everybody, this is Eric. So I'm gonna start talking about the enemy AI, how we're using object pooling to create the enemies, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about the collectibles as well. So we'll start with the enemy. First of all, I'll show you the gameplay. So I'll just start the game. So this is not the game. I'm just starting this specific scene. Right now, yep, you see that there were two collectibles. One is a shield and armor, and the other is health bar. And right now, as you can see, there are enemies underneath us shooting at us from those carts or like platforms. And we can kill these guys. And as you can see, my health bar is starting to go down as the enemies start to hit us. We can kill these enemies. Yeah, I got hit by a train, so I actually died. But yeah, so that was just a little demo of the game. Now I can go into each specific enemy. So enemies are considered enemies on carts and platforms. For example, enemy prefab has its heads, hands, whatever. And also within that we have the pistol, the gun. And the gun has the bullet, the cylinder 0.006 is basically the bullet, right? So the bullet is used to damage the enemy. It has a collider and everything with it, and it's using physics force to aim at the enemy and go hit the enemy as well. It's a projectile, and also it has a particle system when the enemy shoots at us. As you can see in the gameplay, there were some flashes, muzzle flash. So I'll stop the scene right now, and I can talk a little bit more about the enemy AI health. Enemy AI is over here. We're using enemy controllers, enemy audios, and so forth. And then I'll just talk quickly about the collectibles. Here we have two different collectibles. These are the prefabs used for them. I basically used 2D images and inserted them into a sprite and then used it for the game. For the hard collectible, armor collectible, basically a shield, we used an existing free prefab asset with it. So, and then I used what's called a generate collectibles script. It generates the collectibles, and we have um, logic in the player movements to make sure if you're colliding with the collectibles.
My name is Luke, and I will go over the pathing system that the player, the trains, and the enemy carts use. So the paths are defined by these three Bezier curves that go throughout the entire level and curve around the corners using these vertex paths here to create a curve. And when the player wants to go from one path to the next, a transition path attaches to where they are currently and then looks for a spot further down the path that they want to go to, attaches there, and then the player does this little hop over to the next path. And when they are close enough to the next path, then they will detach from this transition path and reattach to their destination path and continue down the lane. And so the train spawner travels further ahead of the player and spawns trains every few seconds on a random path down each lane. And the enemy carts have triggers that are placed throughout the map that are these large box colliders here. So when a player hits one of these box colliders, the associated side path will spawn a cart with enemies in it that will travel alongside the player until it reaches the next room, and then they'll sort of disappear into the room.
Hi, my name is Samuel, and I'm going to be talking about the environment of the game. So for the environments, we're going for more of a dungeon, tunnely dungeon kind of feel. The first thing I did was to go into the asset store, and I was able to find two assets that I felt to work best for the environment which we were going for. I was able to find the tunnel asset and the prison asset, and then I imported this asset into Unity. And the next thing I did was to merge this asset together and just build this asset together to give it more of a dungeon feel. And here we can see tunnels, and if we look further, we can see the jail. There's more of a jail feel to it, and if we look through it, you can see it has a dungeony kind of look, a dungeon tunnel drainage sewage kind of look for the environment. So after doing this, the next thing I worked on was the lighting. I had to work on the lighting, to give it some more textures and some more, to give the environment some more life and to give it some more feel for the way we wanted it to look like. So what I did was using lightning. I did some light design and I worked on the lighting of the tunnel and the environment. I had to add some textures, some shadows to just give a more dynamic feel and to give it some more essence and some more life. The next thing I did was to work on the parts in which the train and the players were going to go on. Since the player was going to be on a train rail, the next thing I did was using Bezier curve. I was able to make some parts in which the player and the tunnel were going to go on. And we can see down here the part in which the tunnel, the player and the train are going to be going on, while the upper gray is just the part in which the train rail system is going to be laying on. And this was one of the things to give the essence of the game. The next thing I did was to add some sound in order to give the game some more life and give it some more essence. So I was able to do some sound designs and add some sounds to the game, added some sounds to the scene, and added some sounds to the players. Thank you for listening.